Welcome back to Tina Teach HTML Lesson 12 CSS Introduction. So today we'll be looking through the basics of CSS, what it is, and how we can implement it into our HTML file, as well as common styling, but we'll be only delving a little bit into the different styling for this lesson because I do want to make a separate video for it. Okay, first, let's look at the definition. Cascading style sheet, and its purpose is to style or format web pages, right, or websites. So it handles anything from font to color to border, position, just anything that you can style, CSS has you covered. Okay, then what does the cascading part of CSS mean, right? So when you look at style and when you look at sheet, it's very self-explanatory. But what about cascading? So cascading is if, let's say you have an HTML element, right? And this is one big element, let's say div or p, right? And within div, you have these headings, you have the different paragraphs as well as buttons and whatnot. The big div is the parent of the children, like the heading children, the paragraph children, and however you style the parent, the children will inherit those styles. Next is implementation. We have three main ways of implementing CSS into HTML. First is inline. We'll be using the style attribute. This is what I've shown to you in previous lessons. We'll be reviewing it in a bit. Next is internal. So we'll be using the style tag in the HTML head section. Okay, I'll be demonstrating it as well. Lastly, external. So we'll create an external separate CSS file and then we'll link it to any web pages. Okay, let's explore these individually. First, we have inline CSS. Inline CSS styles an HTML element using the style attribute. This is what you've seen before. Next is internal CSS. We'll be styling only the HTML page or the HTML file that the internal CSS is in, and this is nestled in head. As you have doc type HTML, and then you have the HTML, then you have head, and inside head you can put style. Now to external CSS. So since it is a separate CSS file, you can link many HTML pages to it, right? This is also nestled inside of the head tag. So you have link rel for relationship, and then you have style sheet, href for the name of the file as well as the folder that it is in if the CSS file is not in the same folder as the HTML file that you want to style. Now we have different ways of linking an external CSS file. First, we can do a full URL. You can just type in the URL of the CSS file. If there's an online CSS file that you like, you can basically use the link. You don't have to download that file manually. Next up is by referencing a folder. So first off, let's say that this CSS style is not in the same folder as the HTML file. So for the source, we'll be writing the folder and then the name of the file. However, if the CSS file is both in the HTML file, we can simply just write the name. Inline CSS, this is what I've shown you before. We have an element div with the style attribute. Background color is, let's make it yellow. Okay, CSS is great. Ctrl S to save and let's see how it looks. There you have it. Okay, now let's move on with internal CSS. We'll have a P element. This is my paragraph. Close it. Now head to the head section. have a style tag ready. Style, color blue, font size is the same, 150 pixels. Background color is red. Alright, well, let's make it pink. Next up is external CSS. For external CSS, I'll be making a new file, CSS. I'll put it in the same folder as the main HTML.css, create file. Now let's go back to our main. Let's make a new element to style, h1. First heading, Control S, h1, let's see, color is white, font size 150, background color black. Next up, we have to link these two together. Go back to our head section again. Link rel style sheet, href for source. Since it is in the same folder, we can just put the name my CSS file.css. Close it, Control S, and there you have it. Now let's see what happens if we put the CSS file into a new folder. As you can see in Visual Studio Code, it crosses this out because it is not the correct location. All right, let's go to the correct location. Close this one. And we'll put the folder CSS in there. Control S to save and restart. It is the same. Okay, let's experiment with it a bit more. I'm going to add a border, 2 pixel dashed red. Save. Oh, this one is a bit too small. Let's make it 20. Okay, now that's it. Okay everyone, thank you for being with me here today. For our next lesson, we'll be diving into colors, fonts, sizes, padding and margin, borders, etc. You know, the common CSS styling. Since we did not go into it too much, I wouldn't say any in this lesson. So remember to stay tuned, check out my YouTube channel. Please do like and subscribe, and remember, learn today, better tomorrow.